At the last round of the V8 Utes, a former Rookie of the Year took control of the championship.
Chris Walton wins in Perth, and this could be the year for Chris Walton.
Now the series travels from the west coast to the top end for round 3 of the V8 Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. Hi everyone and welcome to the top end. Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway hosts round 3 of the V8 Ute Series. Sunblocks on, shirts are on, shorts are on as well. It's a hot weekend and the racing on track is bound to be the same. If you're a Falcon fan though, you are in a really good place. 4 drivers hold the top 4 spots in the championship points coming into this weekend. The Holden Commodore drivers must respond here in the top end this weekend. The other thing too is this track has changed since we were here 12 months ago. Some major accidents in previous years. They've changed the wall on the exit of turn 1. Gone is the earth embankment with the tyre wall. It's been replaced by a complete concrete wall section. But nevertheless, just because they've changed the track doesn't mean that the action will change. The 10th time the V8 Utes have been to the top end. Plenty of work going on to get ready for round 3.
Hidden Valley Raceway has traditionally seemed tame enough, but as V8 Ute Series drivers discovered last year, it's a track where it can all go horribly wrong.
Oh no! Huge accident! Oh, we got a car over! It's Spud Wood!
Massive amount of damage.
This is a serious moment.
John Spud Wood is back to give it another crack and hopes it will be more forgiving this time round.
Felt like I was in the air for about 3 minutes, so everything just slows down a hell of a lot, and then you just brace for impact and yeah, got a bit of a sore neck, a bit of whiplash from it, but shake it off in a couple of days and move on to the next event. You're constantly watching your mirrors to see what they're doing, and you need to know, like in a car on the road, you need to know what other people are doing before you make your move. And it does. Your heart rate comes up, especially off the start, and there's a big group of cars around you, and anything can happen at any moment. So hopefully we're going to keep the battery world car on its 4 wheels and up the front away from all that mess, thanks.
A driver who has avoided carnage here over the years by leaving them all in his wake is Ryle Harris. But there's a new championship leader, and after dominating in Perth, he is in no mood to give up his newfound status at the top of the points table.
After the last round, it was just one of those perfect rounds for us, and we've come here with the lead. We've gone out for the first break session. We're off P2. So we've started great. We just want to keep this lead. We want the championship at the end, so we're just going to do anything we can to stay there.
A rookie from last year has also hit form. Jesse Dixon took out his first race win, but does he have what it takes to emerge as a serious contender for the championship?
I'd like to think so. I know we've got a strong package. We've got a fantastic team in Heyman Racing and Image Racing, and I'm learning more about the Ute every time I get in it, and we're getting some pretty good pace now, so I think the guys at the front better watch out.
Dixon is one of a battle pack of drivers just outside the top 3, and they're all separated by just 2 points. Among them is Andrew Fisher, who says he has renewed focus after doing extra miles in other motorsport categories.
Being in the other cars really helps because it just means that you, I think, become more unreasonable in your own car because there's different dynamics in those cars, and when you get back in your own car, you're looking for new things, and you're able to talk to the engineers more thoroughly about what you want from the car. And so, yeah, it's changed. It's helped me with a technique change, and it's really allowing me to sort of, I guess, flow the car more than I've been able to do in the past.
And gritting up this weekend after a 3-year absence is veteran Charlie Kovacs.
Welcome back, Handlebars. Good to have the big moustache on the grid once again. Here are the points thanks to Armour All. Chris Walton now leading the championship after Barbagallo, but it's so close between himself and David Cedars. Ryle Harris needs to use this weekend, track where he was so fast at last year, to make a move in the points. Pole position though, it's going to David Cedars. 3rd time he's claimed pole position up here in Darwin, looking for his first ever event win. He'll be taking the cash thanks to Armour All and some good form to go through to the 3 races that we'll have this weekend. The action, it's all about to kick off up here in the top end. We're going to grid them up. 2 wheels and 4, doesn't matter. It's the Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe in Darwin.
This round, we profile a rookie who got his grounding in a form of motorsport not usually considered a pathway to V8 Ute racing, Phil Woodbury.
I got into motorsport racing radio control cars actually. I spent 10 years racing. I was a factory driver for a Japanese company. I won state and national championships and actually come 6th in the world championships in Houston, Texas. So that was how it all started. I suppose people wonder if there's any similarities between remote control racing and real ute racing. There is actually. Like, they're very comparable. They're just a scale model of the car, really. I got a lot more adjustment, so it taught me a lot in terms of setup and that. But it also teaches you about having the competitive edge over your competitors.
These things are a lot bigger and heavier than remote control cars as we get ready to grid them up for race 2 of the weekend, the reverse grid race. Jason Bargwanna alongside me. And Jason, let's check out some of the highlights from race 1 first, because it's pretty action-packed.
Action-packed is one way of describing it. When they got down to turn 1, as you can see, the boys, they all sort of was pretty calm off the start, but that's about where it ended. Andrew Fisher, backwards from the first corner. Kim Jane went bush.
It looked like Nathan Pretty in the middle of that one. This is what it looked like from the Bottle entry. This is on board Craig Dontis, everybody pushing and shoving. And unfortunately, a big wake-up call for George Miedeke, who was an innocent victim and all that. A second DNF in a row on the first race of the weekend. Here we go, this is good.
Wayne Wakefield and Elliot Barber. These boys had a great battle for about 3 or 4 laps. Inside, outside, touch, bang, crash. And this continued on and on. So Wayne Wakefield using every bit of the black, the green, the brown, anything that's available. Touch, bang, and goodbye, Elliot Barber. It was all over for him.
We'll call that one line ball. That was a tough one to call between the two of them. Barber would bring out the safety car, parked backwards in the gravel. On the restart, not so much a line ball decision, this one. Boom.
No. We could have called the other one racing incident. This was Wayne Wakefield. So crashed straight in the back of Nathan Pretty. And as you can see there, he's tried to continue racing, but that's the end of his day. Too much damage, and he was actually excluded by the driving standards observer for that one, for being a bit of a naughty boy.
Brought into the principal's office, but it didn't stop there. Jesse Dixon, celebrating a birthday yesterday, goes into the back of Bazadzik and in poles Woodbury, Wood, Fisher, everybody getting involved in that one. This is what it looked like from the cockpit of Adam Marjoram.
Driving standards officer. He was a bit busy after this one. There was stuff going everywhere, but it was the top 3. Cedars out in front. Chris Walton, that interesting battle for this championship. Geez, these guys are going to be pushing hard, but it was all Cedars all the way.
How much do we like seeing that? First and second in the championship, leading each other home. First and second in race 1, and a great effort also from Ryan Hansford, who's been quick all weekend to finish in 3rd. Grant Johnson making his return this season and looking very fast so far this week, and he's already got 5 podiums at this track, so we know he loves it around here in Darwin. And Adam Marjoram started 21st, drove all the way to 10th, so a great effort from the West Aussie to come charging through the field. We're getting set for the reverse grid race, and that's how the championship point score looks at the moment. Very close indeed between Chris Walton and David Cedars, just 3 points separating them. And keep an eye on these two. They'll be starting out of positions 13 and 14 because that's how many we're going to reverse in this race.
So that's put Andrew Fisher and Noel Edge on the front row. This is going to be exciting stuff. Aaron Borg, he's new to the ute racing, a go-karter from Sydney. Kim Jane, one of the regular guys we see at the front. There's Grant Johnson, 11th on the grid. Ryan Hansford, Chris Walton, David Cedars, the fast guys.
Look forward to seeing that battle. Nathan Pretty, another big name that'll be starting further back in the pack. Danny Bazadzik had that massive crash with John Wood as well. Actually had a big crash here. They'll be off the 14th row. Jared McLeod drove the whole way up from Melbourne, towed that race car all by himself as we get ready for the reverse grid race. Noel Edge, only the 2nd time in his career he's been off the front row. It's Fisher who gets the initial jump though.
Kim Jane, look at that! Kim Jane has hooked that car up on the second bite, and he has made a great start. He's split the front row, and he's now out in front, coming across on Andrew Fisher. But what's going to happen behind him? 3-4 wide. Oh, contact!
Oh, Marjoram up the back of Dontis. Dontis did a good job to hold on to that one. Everybody trying to find their own bit of room. There is Aaron Borg, starting off the 2nd row this weekend, and only his first ever V8 ute race.
Hit the sign. Oh, he's missed the sign. That was a great job there by John Wood to miss the sign. But 3 wide, 4 wide. This is what ute racing's all about. You know, these guys don't give an inch. Yep, there we go, 3 wide. So trying to go around the outside there is not very a good spot to be. But this surface is really hard to try and generate grip on. So once you're offline, you're in trouble.
Century Batteries on board with Noel Edge, who's going backwards in a hurry at the moment. Everybody's struggling for grip through turn 6, turn 7. Tyres are still pretty cold as Roll Harris gets another spot made. Desperate to try and make good this championship charge right now. Tough part of the racetrack to go side by side. It's Adam Mardram up the inside of Ryan Hansford, and the multi spares Ute. Jeremy Gray had to take some evasive action on the curbs.
When there's half a window in the Ute race, these guys tend to stick it in there and try and make the most of it. So that's what makes this racing so exciting. And it's Kim Jane, though. Look, the jump he's got over Andrew Fisher in that first lap. Fantastic start from him.
Kim Jane had a couple of wins last year in this series up in Townsville as well. He was quite quick. And oh no, Grant Johnson. Now, damage to the left-hand side. He's gone around at turn 14. He'll go to the back of the pack. Was there contact, or there's also a tyre bundle on the inside there? I just wonder if maybe he clipped that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously got a bit of contact throughout the first lap, but he's now dropped to the back of the grid. There's Ryan Hansford making another couple of spots. He's up on Noel Edge now, so Noel Edge dropping like a stone in this field. He's gone from front row, now he's back to about 8th.
It's Jeremy Gray up the inside, giving each other a fair bit of room, but how much longer is that room going to be there for? Riding on the tray. Next corner is a left-hander, so Noel Edge should have to sit. There's a lock-up going on ahead.
There's lock-ups going up and down the field everywhere. But Gray's going to try and hang on the outside. He's gone around the outside of the hairpin. That'll put him in the right position for turn 7. And Noel Edge is just about to run out of road. There you go. All over. Jeremy Gray's through.
That's a surprising amount of room for the Utes. Here we go. Yokohama replay of the start. Kim Jane went off like a bolt of lightning. Such a good start as the boys off the 7th row began their journey through the field. They're a tough clutch to get off the start line, these new clutches. Here's the onboard with Mardram. Dixon got the jump on him.
Here, Mardram there, just grabbed the rev limiter, and that's hurt him a bit. Jesse Dixon through the middle as well. So it was a couple of great starts. Where does Mardram go? Left or right? He's going to pick the middle lane, which is in straight in the back of Dontas. Bit of contact, but we expect that from the Utes, don't we?
Now, what happened at the back here with Grant Johnson? Oh, Walton was close.
Did he touch him? Did he not? The driving standards office is going to have to look at that one.
It's not quite like going through the data on a V8 supercar to figure out what went wrong. Sometimes it's just a bit of he said, she said when it comes to figuring out who was in the wrong. Jane is the clear leader at the moment from Andrew Fisher. As everybody jumps on the anchors down at turn 6 once again, there's the Kubota car of Woodbury and Jordan McLeod in the middle of all this with Wakefield, who's been a busy boy this weekend.
Wayne Wakefield's been
contact with Armand. And it's still going to go on at turn 7. The South Aussie Armand back in the series this weekend. They're going to rub doors the whole way through 8. This is going to end in tears, surely. Oh, more contact.
So we saw Wayne Wakefield in the middle of the action in race 1, and he's right in the middle of it again.
Yeah, damage to Armand. He couldn't get the car turned.
I'd say he's got a flat tyre, a bent rim, or broken steering there or something, because that contact lifted the car up. You can see there he just can't turn the car, so it's lifted the car up, done a bit of damage, a bit of rubbing and pushing and shoving, and they've ended up with some damage.
And the twin W's of Wayne Wakefield's in the thick of it once again. Here we go down to turn 1, and this is Hansford.
Hansford had the car all lit up there, and he was all sideways and trying to gather it up. He's done a great job, and we'll have a look at that action again. So a bit of contact from Wakefield, and then we've got this problem where 3 into 2 doesn't really go too well.
I think Ben Dunn managed to get away scot-free without too much damage, but unfortunately Michael Armand not so lucky. He's in the pits, getting that thing fixed up. We're going to go off to a break. Plenty more to go here in Darwin. Welcome back to Darwin. It's the V8 Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe, and earlier in the break we saw that move. That was Ryle Harris going up the inside, but check this out. Handlebars. Watch the car control.
Welcome back, Charlie. Look at the drifting. He's got his foot down. He's a bit of contact. Oh, no. Wayne Wakefield again.
The question mark has been looking backwards and forwards, and unfortunately that meant that Dunny was done. He was involved with that one. And you know who involved once again down at turn 1.
Oh, Wayne Wakefield. He's having a weekend he'd rather forget, I think. A bit more contact there, and another one backwards. So
Graham Stewart, who got turned around and just clipping the dirt on the way in. This is Spud Wood in the Bachelor World car. Watch this.
Woohoo!
How do you get out of the dirt? Just gas it up.
Chad Reed, eat your heart out. He looks like a motocross bike out of a berm on that one.
Sprayed the crowd nicely down there as well. I think they appreciate that kind of treatment up here in Darwin in the crowd. Down at turn 5, it's Elliot Barber and the Just Car Insurance Commodore struggling for grip at the exit. Only get 6 tyres to work with for the whole weekend. Mardram overcooks it slightly at 7, and a fellow West Aussie up the inside in the Stratco Ute, but here comes Killer Walton. This should be very exciting. He's up the inside at 7, and a little bit of a tap.
It's a hard place to hang on the outside there at 7, but Chris Walton takes advantage of that, and it looks like Cedar's in the back of that as well. So this is the hard challenge for these guys. Coming from the 7th row of the grid, they get up to the cars that, well, they're only slightly quicker than, but it is very difficult to pass.
The Nova Boy is riding shotgun in the back of the ute for Adam Marjoram. Recently finished his exams for the year, doing a double major, I think, in commerce and economics. So thankfully he can focus on driving this weekend, but he's going to be looking in his mirrors because check out the talent he's got behind him. He's got Walton, he's got McNally, and he's got Cedars all queuing up to take pot shots at him.
It's interesting, this championship battle, isn't it? There's the two real combatants. They're only a car apart at the moment, and they'll be like that all weekend. Every little manoeuvre they make, every mistake they make will cost them in this championship. So it's quite critical, and we can see we've got a bit more Rubbins racing.
Fuel flap comes
and
open.
Where's Cedars? Cedars managed to get away through there as well. So Cedars now, he's got to find a way past McNally to get on the back of Chris Walton. And here he comes up the inside.
Oh, everyone fans out.
McNally,
Tap. That was Marjoram up the back of
Pretty on the
Jeremy Gray.
outside, runs out of road real quick, can't find a way through.
This is great racing. New line on boards, Elliot Barber, the outside of turn 6. The GoPro ute looking very nice. Up the inside of Adam Marjoram goes Nathan. Pretty contact once again.
Have that one back again, thank you.
They're driving by fuel right now out there, like walking around your bedroom with the lights off. Oh no, smoke out the left front of the Auto 1 ute for Marjoram. Could that spell more danger? I don't know if this... He's gone back close to maybe 6 or 7 spots there in a lap bar. It's not what he needs. After passing 11 in race 1 as well.
So with only two laps to go now, it's Kim Jane out front. The real battle for the championship is these two guys here. Can Cedars find a way past McNally and then get up in front of Chris Walton? That's his aim, that's his key, that's what he's got to do.
Closing stages. Towards the end of this race, here's Hansford. Bit of a look up the inside of Dontas. Going to give each other a bit of room. Just ticked over 300 laps of ute racing around here in Darwin. And I think there's been paint swapped on all 300 of them. 10 years we're celebrating this weekend.
Guaranteed, for every lap. No dramas whatsoever. Ryan Hansford now, he was been fast, he was quick in practice, and trying to find a way past here, you've really got to be committed. Because once you're offline, the grip level's quite low, and it is hard to pass, and it's so easy to lock a brake. You've only got 6 tyres, and we saw him qualifying. There we go, there's Dontas, he's just locked a brake and ran wide, so...
Oh, that's Jeremy Gray. He's run wide at turn 5, Bards.
And or was he run wide? There's always the question in ute racing.
Well, he's lost 3 spots as a result now. Elliot Barber and Adam Marjoram. These two buddies, well, I use the term buddies loosely. I don't think they're exactly close friends. Though he's swapped a fair bit of paint last year in the series as fellow rookies. This could get exciting, especially through this part of the racetrack. This is where Barber had issues in race 1 with Wakefield. Doesn't want to end off in the gravel again. Oh, big understeer, big push. Opens the door slightly for Jero Gray. Not going to make it happen there.
There's a passing opportunity just here if you can get down the inside and make it committed. But Barber's missed the apex there. He's run a little wide, which has given Jeremy Gray an opportunity to get up the inside. Now he's got that overlap, and Spudwood in behind there. He wants part of the action as well. But with that overlap, you can run down the straight and hopefully stay there for the braking zone.
Oh, look at Barber just cheekily moving over, trying to block that line, the approach to turn 1. Oh, on the brakes early. Gray had to respond. And
check out the outside.
They all forgot about Spud. Oh, no contact between
No, they
Barber. Oh, Spudwood trying to be a hero on the outside. Oh, I love the intensity of that move. He nearly picked up 2 on the outside, and Barber's got issues here. Medicki goes through. Meanwhile, this is the guy who's leading the way, Kim Jane. Good recovery considering he was off in the boonies at race 1, and further back as we check out the rest of the field coming through. Aaron Borg doing a good job to stay out of trouble so far this weekend. Hansford has been fast, and have a look at this. Reece McNally's actually got back around Chris Walton, which puts the 2 championship contenders nose to tail once again between Cedars and Walton.
But it's all Kim Jane, and after being out in the bush, that first lap, cars went everywhere. He's recovered. They drew the grid, and it put him up the front. He's got the great start, but look at that. He's come across the line. The only driver to have driven every single race at Darwin, and he's managed to win race 2 here at Darwin. What a fantastic result. With Andrew Fisher second.
Roll Harris doing a good job to bring that thing home in third. Last year's champion. Race to the line is on. Reece McNally in the Stratco ute's going to get there. He'll beat home the Renko Charger himself. And that will close the championship battle up once again. Kim Jane is your race winner of race 2, just like he was back here in 2006. David Cedars from 14th to 10th. Aaron Borg on debut, 7th so far for him in that race. Nathan Pretty was a busy boy. He's actually been pinged a few spots as well for that contact that we saw earlier. First time in 4 years that he's had a penalty like that.
Well, Kim Jane, you've had it all over the years here at Darwin, but a race win, that's pretty handy.
We'll take the race win for sure. You know, we've had some ups and downs and some turnarounds up here, but, you know, we love coming here every year. Last year we had a second for the round, and we were sort of hoping to get somewhere near that, but the weekend in qualifying didn't start as well as what we wanted, and race one, you know, off the track on the first corner and was dead last. Managed to get up to 11th, which obviously gave us a great spot for the reverse grid race, and had an awesome start. And I got in front and just went, wow, now I've got to concentrate and stay here. So, you know, we're just absolutely wrapped. You know, the team have done a great job, and, you know, the rest was easy. I just had to look after the car.
Congratulations to Kim Jane. We're going off to an ad break, but you don't want to miss this one because we've had two crazy races. There's one more yet to go. The V8 Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe.
You're watching the V8 Ute Series. If you've ever thought of racing a V8 Ute, here's a cost-effective way to get amongst the action. First, ensure you have a CAMS licence. Then get in contact with a team that offers a lease drive.
We'll prep all the car. We can do all the sign writing in-house. We organise their accommodation, their flights. The car will be fully prepared with race rubber supplied and the brakes and everything there. So really they've got nothing to worry about other than having fun driving.
They get to come in with a fully equipped team. They got drivers to back-to-back data from, setups already sorted because they've got multiple years of experience. And it's an arrive and drive package. You know, the driver has to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's about getting the car around the track fast.
For newcomers, it's the perfect opportunity to test the waters and simply focus on racecraft.
Yeah, well, if you couldn't and you had to do it yourself, you have to first of all buy the car, and then you'd have all your tools and everything else involved with it as well. So the cost would definitely add up if you had to get it all and start it all yourself.
I really don't have to worry about anything. It's just a cost, and to be able to get yourself to the track. To be able to test it out, to see if you like to be able to do it, because I would like to do some more rounds and maybe buy a ute myself one day.
Final race of the weekend. Jason Bargwanna alongside me in commentary. And if the first two races were anything to go by, this could get a little bit crazy. And Ryan Hansford actually leading the points at the moment. He's been so fast this weekend alongside David Cedars, and a flurry of Fords towards the front. Let's look for some big names a bit further down. How about Nathan Pretty?
Nathan Pretty, yeah, he's obviously been turned around, bashed up, crashed up, but he's sitting there in the middle of the grid there. George Badecki, John Wood, they've had some action this weekend. There's Wayne Wakefield. He's having a weekend he'd rather forget, but it's Jared McLeod down the back with Cam Wilson. So it's going to be an interesting battle here, race 3. We've seen some interesting first corners, haven't we, Chad? So let's just see what these boys can do on this one.
Well done, Cam Wilson, on getting that thing back on the grid. Here we go, we're off and racing. Final time, and Ryle Harris not with a bad jump at all in third. He's got the advantage over Chris Walton at least. And Walton needs to make up some spots in a hurry because Cedars on the outside of Hansford at the approach to turn 1 could steal the championship lead off him in this race. Here we go, hold your breath.
Chris Walton didn't get a great start there, so it's Ryan Hansford. He's going to hold on to the outside there. Cedars gives a little bit to make sure it's safe and he gets through without any damage. So these points are so important to these guys.
We saw so many big crashes at this part of the racetrack last year. On board with Marjoram on the outside, that's brave. A couple of lock brakes at the approach of turn 5, and so far so good. Grant Johnson trying to make good for poor race 2.
So far quite calm in the third race. They've all learnt from their first 2 this weekend, and you can see they're cleanly getting through. We've got a little bit of contact, a little bit of rubbing, but that's great stuff to see them out there and not ripping cars up.
Good battle at the front of this one starting to form up because we've got Ryan Hansford who's jumped out to the early lead, but it looks like Cedars is going to make life miserable for him already. Ryle Harris trying to hang on to third. Good battle for the lead. Opening lap. Last couple of corners. Can Cedars get the run onto this very long straight?
What Cedars needs to do here is work hard with Hansford and try and get away from Chris Walton, who's now just being held up a little bit behind Harris. So that little bit of a buffer, that bit of a break will mean that Chris Walton's going to have to work his tyres hard to catch those guys.
Hansford does have a couple of race wins here in the past. Cedars looks to the inside. Not going to happen there. He'll have to be a bit more patient. Ryle Harris doing a good job to hold up Chris Walton.
Chris is getting desperate. He's going to have to go to the outside. Will he be able to hang on?
No.
Side by side.
No. He's got level with him. He's going to have to sit.
That's a great move.
He's not going to pull that off around the outside. Through 2 and 3, through 4, he's on the curb sideways. He'll have the sit at turn 5, and that is the best move we've seen all season. What a move from Chris Walton.
So he knew he had to get the job done. Look at that gap now he's got to Ceedis. He's got to pull that back, and he's going to have to work those tyres to get there. But clean racing from these two guys. Harris, the champion from last year. Chris Walton, the championship leader from this year. Side-by-side racing, fantastic stuff.
Great Dontis riding on board with him. Oh no, Spud Wood's off. Can he get this car moving? That looks to be exit of turn 1,
exit of
potentially.
turn 1 and up towards turn 2 there. So not sure what's gone wrong there, but back to the lead again. It's Ryan Hansford doing a great job and keeping Ceedis at bay. But there's Chris Walton starting to pull that gap now over Harris and work his way back to those leading guys. McNally doing a good job in 4th as well. And coming under pressure from Kim Jane, there's Spud Wood. And
turn 4, that is. Oh, okay.
Weird, cars opposite broken something in the steering, just no control, and managed to get it out of the way safely.
At least it went better for him than he did last year. The battery wall, it was upside down a couple of times.
In that same spot, I do believe.
At least he's parked the thing in one piece. Here we go. Fighting away on lap 3 right now.
Great view as they come over the top there. One of the fastest parts of the circuit. The car gets really light as it comes across that crest. You're trying to get on the brakes, and you've got to get the car settled. You've got to get the car balanced before you can actually start putting some brake pressure in.
Oh,
and there we go, lap 2. Lap 3, we've got Noel Edge.
He's copped a huge whack from behind.
I wonder if Wayne Wakefield was there anywhere.
I'm not saying anything. Here we go, battle at the front between Hansford and Ceedis is on. Hansford, 2 race wins at this circuit before. Race 3 back in 2011, race 2 in 2012, former podium. And if they can hold these positions, he'll win the weekend. But Ceedis is going to give him a bit of a tap, try to upset his run out of turn 14. Can it help him get the run down this big long straight, the longest straight we find anywhere outside of Mount Panorama? Good chance to stretch the legs of these Fords.
I think he's actually giving him a little bit of bump and a bit of advantage, so he's got into the back of Hansford at the right spot, and Hansford's actually pulled a little gap down the front straight there. So these guys have got to work together, keep it clean, because Chris Walton is coming, and he will be there soon, I can guarantee it.
Yeah, Walton is seriously lurking right now. And the more that those two guys battle for the lead, the closer he'll get. Oh, good battle at the back. Oh, no, you're going to be kidding me. You know who this is. It's Barber. It's Mediki.
And it's 3 wide. Go down the front straight. Always makes you a little bit nerve. There we go. There's one out in the dirt.
It's Johnson going Bush. Can you get this thing back on? Good to see him back running with Dulux Cool Roof and Boilertronics helping out as well. Battle on at the front. Turn 6, heavy braking. And again, we see Ceedis has so much speed, he just can't seem to find a way around. And Walton's nearly there. The Rinko Ute is no longer lurking. He's just about caught them. Battle on. I'm already looking for the question mark. No, we're going to go a bit further back this time. Noel Edge.
Earlier where Noel Edge got turned around. So from Armin, the contact has happened there, and it looks like it may have busted that front suspension again in Armin's car. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Bang in the rear corner. And looked like Armin's car had the right front point. There we go. Right front pointing in the wrong direction.
And fire as well. Now that can actually cause some bigger problems up here in Darwin.
Yeah, we tend to see the grass catch fire when these cars pull up, or when they run across the grass with flames like that, because the grass is so dry up here. But have a look at the gap now back to Chris Walton. He is closing, and Hansford actually pulled a little gap on Ceedis, so maybe Ceedis made a mistake there. But it's given Chris Walton that sniff. There we go. There's the grass on fire.
We're going to send the fireys out to put that one out. We're going to send you off to an ad break, but this one is going to be exciting. You don't want to miss the finish. Race 3 up here in Darwin. Welcome back to the top end, where things are getting a little bit toasty, or I suppose roasted, for Michael Armand. And unfortunately, that's caused a little bit of a fire out there. I'm sure the fireys are working on that one. This battle in the middle of the pack is going off right now. George Mediki and Grant Johnson side by side down the front straight. Wayne Wakefield's in the mix as well.
Elliot Barber in there. So some of those guys haven't had the greatest weekend. Fighting their way back. Charlie Kovac's in there as well. Wayne Wakefield. So side by side again, around the outside. Medeki. This is nice, clean stuff at the moment.
Kubota Ute is in there as well. Phil Woodbury, the RC driver that we saw earlier. A bit of dust getting kicked up. And Woodbury, coincidentally, has some support this weekend from Monsoon. So there's going to be a couple of big parties going off tonight in Darwin, I think, between Ducks Nuts and Monsoons. It could be a big night for the 32 Ute races. They're going to let their hair down before the series continues in Townsville. Here's this battle at the front. Just about at the halfway point. Hansford doing a good job to hold off Uh-oh. Our championship contenders.
So thanks to Ahmed, we've got a little bushfire up at turn 12 at the top there, but the Fires have put that one out. This is the real battle. This is where it's going to come down to tyre management. The tyre only lasts really 1 or 2 laps around here, so from qualifying on, they've really had to look after what they've got, because it's going to play into this race 3. This is where it gets challenging. You've got to make sure you haven't flat spotted or worn them out or overheated them, and it's even the best tyres at this point in time of the weekend that's really going to shine.
You get the feeling that this is heating up. The 3 forward guys at the front right now, Hansford, Cedars and Walton. First and second of the championship, sitting second and third in this race.
Hansford's really good off the corner. Cedars good under braking. Chris Walton's got a good balance in the car everywhere. So the 3, there we go.
Contact was made at the exit of the corner. Strange spot for it. Looked like maybe Hansford slowed. And this has opened up the door. Cedars takes a bit of the curb at turn 4. Can he hang on around the outside at 5? Good move from David Cedars. And watch Walton slip up the inside here as well. Hansford's going to get hung out to dry, go from first back to third.
Not sure what happened there. A little bit of contact, but Hansford, he realises it's not worth fighting that battle. So that's put the 2 championship contenders now, first and second on the track, second and first in the championship. So it's really going to make it quite interesting.
That's what we want to see. One-on-one battle between the 2 championship contenders, halfway home, and Walton. Let's see what kind of patience he can show from here. Patience hasn't been his #1 thing over the last couple of years.
Patience. No, he's actually learned a lot over the last couple of years from being the Rookie of the Year and now fighting his way back to being a serious championship contender. You can see a bit of slow motion action there through the grass. Love it.
This is Peter Burnett, who had that massive crash last year where Spud Wood went upside down on the Yokohama replay. Taking a bit of a shortcut through turn 7.
I've got it. No, I haven't. Yes, I have. We're back on the black stuff.
That battle pack in the middle of the field continuing. George Miedeke had that DNF in race 1, and as soon as that happens, you've just got instantly onto the back foot. You're trying to fight your way through the field from there. Did a good job in race 2. Started 30th and found his way up past, I think, nearly 16 utes. He was going crazy passing utes.
Bit of a slight touch there for Charlie. So welcome back, Charlie. It's great to see you've had a couple of years off, but you're back in ute racing again. Push and shove, race hard.
Woodbury looked to have the Newline Oils number plate hanging off back there as well. That happens a lot. Grant Johnson's been beaten from pillar to post, looking for a 6th podium up here in the top end. The most winningest man in the series. It's an odd word, that, winningest. It sounds horrible every time you say it. Newline on board, looking off the back of Elliot Barber. Turn 6 is where we're at. Busy weekend for Barber. He's been in the sand trap. He's had a fair bit of contact going on. There's been a couple of social media slap on the wrists as well for a couple of comments made on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Plenty for Rod Wilson to look at on the track and also online.
Damage to cars, but it really it comes down to this last few laps now with these 2 championship contenders out in front. The field spreading out a little bit, and this all comes down to their tyres. This stage of the weekend, a lot of trouble. The track temperature up over 50 degrees, so it's very hot, and it's a very open surface, so there's not a lot of contact patch available, and it makes the tyres hard. Nathan Pretty there, moving around under brakes, and you can see they're just all on the limit of grip.
He's following Aaron Borg, the 24-year-old from Sydney in his first weekend, a kart racer that I think you've even lined up against.
I have lined up against him, a fast young guy, kicked my butt, no problem at all. So it's good to see him out here now racing in the utes, and his first time in Darwin. So really come from that high level of karting straight into the car racing is competitive straight away.
Amazingly, he survived open heart surgery and as a 7-year-old kid, and his parents used karting as a way to help him to learn how to walk, to learn how to get fit again. When he was 10 years old, he started competitive karting, and he is doing a great job right now. He's holding off Nathan Pretty in his first ever ute race. That's huge.
That's a massive effort. Nathan's obviously a very experienced racer, been around the utes for a long time now, and Aaron's certainly doing a great job. On board with Adam Marjoram there, so he's pushing to try and get that little gap back.
Saying earlier that Marjoram studies business and economics, and Borg has actually finished his degree in business and commerce, so we can talk business out there right now. Still plenty to work out in this one. The battle between the 2 at the front is going to be good. Dying laps up here in Darwin, the V8 Ute Series, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. We're nearly at the end of the final race in Darwin. Beautiful conditions, the sun is shining, and the front 3 are having a good battle. Cedars and Walton. Coincidentally, the man who won 3 races here last year, defending champion, Royal Harris, has pulled off with a broken gear shifter, which which is huge news. He had a bit of local support from Shaw Cranes this weekend and also Ducks Nuts, which is going to host a bit of an after party after this one. I don't know if the after party is going to be jovial between a few of these guys because there's going to be lots to talk about, Bugs, all the paint that's been traded.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to sit back and watch that one, won't it? So, but as you can see, the battles continue right through the field. It's not only the front three, but here we are fighting for about 12th place, and these guys are fighting like it's the lead of the championship. There's Kovacs and Hideki again, and Barber and Johnson. So they're pushing pretty hard. Phil Woodbury there, using all that little small car experience to work out how to get past these guys in front.
George Miedeke trying to figure out a way to get through on handlebars Kovacs. Good to see him back. We saw Kovacs Jr. racing in Adelaide, and it'll either be Kovacs Jr. or Senior racing up in Townsville for the next round of the championship. Cannot wait to continue the run in the sun that we're having. Can Walton close this gap right now? He starts to come on strong towards the end of the race, but it's all about tyres this late in the weekend.
Well, it is, and it's about managing it. So for me, it's obvious you can see from the top 3 or 4 guys, the way they drive the car. It's nice and clean, it's smooth, it's tidy. It looks after the tyre, and particularly when you only got 6 of them to work with, you've really got to be conscious about how you deal with it. So the guys down the back that are fighting and swapping left and right, and locking brakes and inside and outside, they're working them very hard. But it's these front guys that really, they look after them, they nurse them. It's a heavy car, the Ute, but it's a handling car. It handles very well. But this is what it's all about, trying to make sure that by race 3, you're still in a good position.
Well, either way, it doesn't matter what happens between the top 3. We're going to get a new event winner up here in Darwin. 3 times on the podium. We've seen David Cedars, but never on the top step. We've never seen Chris Walton on the podium up here in Darwin. That looks to be the case at the moment, unless he does manage to catch Cedars and we get a bit of a brawl. And also Hansford. We have seen Hansford on the podium back in 2011, but we've not seen him win the overall event. If he could have hung on for that win, he would have been on the top step. And I just wonder if maybe he missed a gear at the exit to turn 1, which is what caused him to drop back a few spots.
It's quite interesting there that with Chris Walton, his car's very strong on braking now. And as we saw before, when he had to push to catch these guys, it's hurting a little bit on the exits, but very strong on braking. So he's got to get himself close enough to have a look, do it safely, because they can't afford, and Chris knows, they can't afford contact, because that will hopefully, it won't hurt the championship if something goes down between these two. But when you've only got 3 or 4, well, there we go. Maybe I was wrong, but they're racing hard, but they've got to be clean.
I wonder if he was going into a bit of conservation mode there for the last 5 laps, because all of a sudden he's closed that gap up nicely. And has he got the rubber to go on with it? We're going to have 2 laps to go this time by. First and second in the championship, Cedars and Walton. Cedars, the winner of the opening round at Clipsal 500 on the streets of Adelaide. And Walton with that incredible drive in Perth, dominant in races 1 and 3. And in race 2, he came from 18th to finish second. He knows how to pass cars. He just needs to pass 1 more to win this event this weekend. 2 to go. Doesn't seem to be close enough this time by. All right, let's look at where he might be able to get this move done. Turn 1, turn 6.
Well, as you can see, there's not a lot between them down the front straight there. That little bit of an exit that Cedars gets, it's a bit better on power down, but Chris Walton's car's a little bit better on braking, so it's going to come down to really if Chris can get a really good run onto the straight and look for a braking into turn 1, or in this next little zone here, up into turn 5, there's another opportunity. But you can see Cedars' car just gets that little bit of better drive, and I suspect that's because Chris has worked those tyres hard trying to catch these 2 leaders in those opening laps.
So one way or another, it looks like Ford's going to take their 7th win of the season. They're dominating the top 3 at the moment, and we've only seen 2 wins for the Holden so far in the reverse grid races, so it's blue oval heaven right now in Darwin.
There's not a lot between these cars. I've actually done the evaluation testing for the Ute Series at Queensland Raceway, and I did exactly the same time in the Commodore. I did exactly the same time in the Falcon, so there's nothing between them. And some circuits suit different balances cars and the way that they work their tyres. So here at Darwin, it's certainly the Fords 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Oh, this could be the time to do it. Last lap coming up. Walton versus Cedars. Has he got the run that he needs? This big, long straight, just about 1 kilometre in length, and then a very heavy braking opportunity at the approach of turn 1. Walton's got a bit of a run.
It's definitely as close as he's been this time. He's in the toe this time, so he's going to have to go the long way. We've seen him do it once before. He has gone around the outside, but can he do it? Oh, no, he's locked the brake. He's locked the brake. That's going to run him a little wide and take away that advantage of trying to go the outside. So it was on, but that small mistake, that's all it's going to take.
Or when he gets sideways at the exit, that's going to cost him more time. So that'll write off any opportunity down at turn 5. I was just wondering if maybe he was going to do the same move we saw him pull on Ryle Harris. That would have been impressive. He closes the gap again. Turn 6 is the next opportunity. It's a hard left-hander, the hairpin. Here we go.
Cedars will protect the line here, so Chris is just not close enough. He's going to have a look.
Oh,
there we
hits
go,
him.
contact. He doesn't want to turn him around at this stage. That'll hurt the championship.
Oh.
But Cedars gathers it all up and he's back on racing again. There's really one spot left. Down to the last corner. Can Chris Walton go down the inside, or is he going to play it safe?
Fighting for the championship lead. Fighting for the round win and race win up here in Darwin. Cedars and Walton, last couple of corners. Trying so hard to win his first championship in the series. David Cedars, it's long overdue. So many times he's been the runner-up in the series. Could this be the year? Out of the final corner.
All he's going to do is get those gear changes right, and he's got it home.
He's going to do it. Cedars from New South Wales and Western Sydney. He is going to take race number 3 of the weekend and win the round. And at all 3 races so far this year, we've seen somebody win race 1, 3 and the round as well. What a race that was. And further back, we've got Jesse Dixon and Andrew Fisher. They're going to brawl all the way to the finish line as well. And happy birthday this weekend to Dixon, 22 years old on Friday during practice, as the rest of the field comes home without Ryle Harris, the man who won 3 races here last year. And this is a good race. Aaron Borg, take a bow on debut in the series, and he comes home inside the top 10 and did a great job holding off some very big names. There he is, coming home in 10th as well. So Cedars takes that win. It was a close one and a hard-fought one. Ryle Harris is a DNF from this race, and that's going to hurt the championship charge. 2 DNFs now for him. Over the page we go, and this is how it looks for the weekend. A 5-point victory for David Cedars, and finally, he's broken through for his first top step at the podium result here in Darwin.
Well, David, you took out that race and also won the round, but gee, you made a hard work of it in the end.
Oh, definitely. Missed a gear on the start of the last lap. Made it really, really hard for me. Chris caught right up the back of me where he was quick, so I had to be very cautious, and I was able to fend him off and take the round win. First time at sunny Darwin. I've been tied before and not won the round here, and the count back worked against me. So this time, no one can take it away from me, so I'm pretty happy.
Have a look how close it is now in the championship, thanks to Armorall. Just 2 points separating Walton and Cedars, and they've opened up a gap now over Fisher and Dontis, also Pretty and Harris a bit further back.
Chris Walton, it's fair to say you gave it everything you could to really try and bump Cedo off there fairly.
Yeah, that's right. I had nothing left. I gave that everything that race. We had the pace to catch him, but again, we just couldn't do anything with him. So he did miss a gear on the second last lap there, which I thought I was going to get, but he knew he did it. He moved over and he wasn't going to let us get past that easy. But it was a good race, hard race. Cars are fast. We got points. I believe we're still winning the championship, so we'll go to the next round and try and do a better job.
It's definitely heating up in the points battle. Andrew Fisher is going to take out, once again, the Masters Award this weekend. He is just having a great season in the Jesus Racing Ute. And our Rookie of the Year honours so far, well, they're going the way of Phil Woodbury in the Kubota Falcon Ute. He's having a pretty good season so far, learning these tracks as he goes. And David Cedars is the man up here in Darwin. Takes the trophy from Disco Miller from Hog's Breath Cafe, and thanks to them for their support this weekend. We're going to follow the sunshine off to Townsville. It's a street race. Looking forward to that one. It's round 4 of the championship. Thank you very much to Jason Bargwanna for his special comments this weekend. It's been a very frantic round up here in Darwin.